If I ask you to imagine a portrait, you're probably going to think of something like this. A flat canvas, maybe in a frame, of a beautiful painting, or maybe a drawing of a person. And those are definitely examples of portraits, but portraits can also be three-dimensional sculptures like these ancient Roman examples. When we paint a portrait or when we draw a portrait, usually our focus is on the outline of the face or the body that we're drawing, and sometimes on the shading and the color. But when we sculpt a portrait, we're really forced to think about how all those parts fit together in three-dimensional space. Today we're going to be exploring how to make portraits out of clay. And so to start, I've made this shape for everybody. I've just kind of made a flat disc shape that we're going to attach some facial features to. And you can see that the first thing I'm doing is taking some clay and just piling it on the middle and smudging it around with my fingers so it's attached, and that is going to be the nose. It's very important whenever we're attaching two pieces of clay that we always blend the edges of those two pieces. Otherwise, when it dries, it'll just peel right off. We really need to make sure that those two pieces of clay are fused together. Alright, now that the nose is done, I'm going to outline some other shapes in the face. I'm going to make that football shape for the eyes with my carving tool. And I can use that edge of the carving tool to just make a little dot in the middle for the eye. The part of the face that goes in the most is usually the mouth, so I added a little opening there. And now, just kind of like I'm making a Play-Doh snake, which I think we've probably all made at home when we're playing around with Play-Doh, I'm going to roll that clay into a little roll. I'm going to outline the mouth with that to make some lips. Just like I did before, I'm going to smudge the corners of that clay that I just put on there and make sure that they are blended in with my background layer. That's going to make sure that they don't fall off even when they're dry. And you can use the edge, the tippy edge of that clay tool that I was using to do that, or you can just use your fingers, whichever you're most comfortable with. Moving ahead, I'm going to do the exact same thing with these eyebrows. Using the back of that clay tool, I'm just kind of smushing it in to the background layer, making sure it's nice and blended. I can even take my finger or another tool and kind of change that shape if I want to. Same with these ears. For this one, I'm just using my finger because they're big enough that I don't really need that much precision. You can do lots of different textures for hair. I kind of like these cinnamon bun sort of roll type things. You might want to try something different. But whatever you try, I'm going to sound like a broken record here, but every new piece of clay that you attach needs to be blended. That means smushing and dragging one layer over the other so that it is attached. Now, does yours have to look like mine? Of course not. You can borrow any of these ideas if that is helpful, but you can also feel free to do your own thing. I've had some students make animal faces instead of human faces for their portrait sculpture, and that's completely fine. But what I want you to do is just think about details. Don't just make a smiley face and two eyes and say, I'm done. And when you're happy with the way that it looks and you feel like you're at a good stopping place, please remember to add your name, carve your name with something sharp into the back of your face so that after it gets fired in the kiln in our oven, we can make sure it gets back to the right person. Again, you don't have to make a face that looks anything like the one I just did. Here are some other examples of what some other students and some other schools have made. But the most important thing is to not rush. Really take your time, make sure you're doing your best work and that you are proud of the masterpiece that you have created. Sculpting faces is hard, so if yours doesn't look perfect, that's okay. Just challenge yourself, try your best, and have fun doing it.